Hi everybody, Mr. Long here. I'm doing a screencast for the grade 9 and or 10s that are working on developing their integer skills and solving equations with number lines. So here we go. What I've got here is a number line, and they're going to start at 17, and whoever's moving here is going to start at 17 and end at -3, and they're going to make 2 steps. Okay. The big thing here is we want to write this as a sum. Okay. We're going to write this as a sum, and then we're going to solve the related equation. So it's really critical. I know many of you can figure it out without doing any of the equation solving, or sorry, without writing it as a sum, but I think it's important to develop this idea of how sums work and how differences work as well. So we always know that in terms of developing an understanding of it, that a sum really is you start at some value, you add an amount of change. That change can be positive or negative, and that leaves you with an ending or terminal value. Okay, what you end up with. So in this case, we're starting at 17, we're ending at -3, and the change is defined as making 2 steps, right? And those are equal size steps. And those steps, in fact, are unknown. So in math, particularly Mr. Long, actually most math teachers, they like to use x and x to represent the amount of change because they're equal and there are 2 of them. So let's represent that with an equation with a sum. Okay, so if we're going to do that, we have a starting value of 17, an amount of change of 2x. X, remember, can be positive or negative. And the ending value is -3. So, sure. Hi folks, Mr. Long back. Sorry, I just had someone stepped in and had a question, so I had to pause it for a minute. And so here we go. So let's take a look at this. If we notice, again, I'm just going to sort of review here, more for me than for you actually, because I'm back at this after a bit of a break. We've got an x here and an x here, and even though they don't look equal, they are equal. This says 2 steps, by the way. It almost looks like 25 steps, but that's the letter S there. So 2 steps of x. And we're starting at 17 and ending at -3. So in terms of the difference, right, the change, what is this difference between 17 and -3? So it's always, if you remember, it's end, take away start from class, but we know that that is a negative because it's pointing to the left, and we know that that difference, or the change or difference, is 20 because it's 17 to get to 0, and then another 3 to get to -3. So 17 to get to 0 and 3, and the whole thing is in the negative direction. So what we can do then is we can actually make this a simpler question and say that the change, 2x, is worth -20. Okay, we're going to worry about the formalities of equation solving later, but what we're doing here is we're integrating some ideas on integers and sum and difference and solving for equations. So I know those 2 jumps have a distance of -20 because they're going to the left. And then you can reason it out. You can use, I know that you learned in grade 8 that you divide both sides by 2. And remember today, actually no, we didn't talk about that today. I talked about this in another class. That symbol right there means dividing by 2. And you divide by 2 because if 2 jumps are 20, then 1 jump is going to be 10. But we know it's going to be -10. Okay, folks? So -10. So that's our x value, and we've solved that equation right there using a number line representation. So we're tying a lot of ideas together, which does make it complicated, but I think it will help you to understand integers and some ideas around balance and solving equations. So I hope this screencast has helped.